So will answer it gladly. So, but I'm sure everyone pretty will. I hope that everyone will feel pretty comfortable here.
Yes. Yes. We're going over the rules.
Yes.
Well,
Okay, I
thank you.
think this is it. If anyone have any questions, no questions. Okay,
Awesome.
let's start.
Thank you. Eileen gonna do a 5-minute meditation, and then we're gonna start the lecture, so we can be fully grounded, so we can be fully present, connect with our soul, our feminine energy, and so we can be really clear and present to the meditation and the lecture. Thank you, Eileen.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And we're also doing things a little differently. We're trying to do this kind of hot seat for anyone that has questions to make it more dynamic for
Or
the
share.
people
Yeah.
sharing online here. So if anyone doesn't feel comfortable in front of the camera, you don't have to, but it might be fun to play with and to be right here with Alisa.
Yes.
And before we do the meditation, for people who are new and haven't seen baby Pablo's little face, this is who it's all about. I want to show this sweet little
Yes.
boy's face to
Yes.
everyone. But first, let's just admit where we're at. When we close our eyes, whatever you came with, if you felt rushed this morning, anxiety, whatever, let's start there. Feet flat on the floor, eyes closed. You can take a deep breath in and out. And whatever you have been feeling, whatever stress you may have experienced this past week, actually acknowledging that is really powerful to do. Just admitting and sitting with it and feeling what that may be like. If any experiences come to mind, just let it come and go. And then make yourself really present to where you're at in this moment, in this room. Feel yourself in your chair. And after acknowledging what you have felt, with each breath in, think about what you want from today, what you want to be feeling. And each breath in, as if it's pulling into you, it's coming towards you, whether it be love, peace. Think about what you'd like to bring into your life. And once you've acknowledged your desires and your wants, your needs, I want you to imagine baby Pablo's little face. See him there in front of you, but happy, healthy, smiling, laughing. Maybe he's a little older. Maybe he's stronger. He's running, he's playing. And put your energy and your thoughts towards blessing this little boy. For those who don't know his parents, imagine what they look like. See his mother and his father, perhaps with tears of joy in their eyes because they've received the money. Seeing them full of gratitude because they get to save their baby boy's life. For all you parents out there, imagine what that would feel like, being your child and being so relieved, being so happy and feeling so blessed because a miracle has taken place. And as we listen to this lecture and give our appreciation to Alisa and what she's sharing, let's also remember our intention for today, to bring about donations for this little boy, to bless a family, to send love, and to make this a daily practice for anyone in our lives. Slowly, when you're ready, you can open your eyes and bring yourself back.
Thank you. It's so hard to keep my tears. Thank you, Eileen. Just want to acknowledge that we're here to learn, to grow spiritually, emotionally. Eileen, you can move the plant if it's on your way. And also we're here to help this little boy that has less than 10 days to raise the funds in order to live. And his parents and him, he wants to live. That's why we're here. So on that note, thank you all for being here. I'm excited. And let's begin. I'm just going to turn on my camera so then I can post this video online for those who cannot make it today. Okay. Oksana, can you still see me?
Yes.
Okay, fantastic. All right. And I know some people are going to be joining online later, and I'm glad that they will be here with us. But most importantly, I'm happy that we're here in person, that we've all gone through this cold Christmas, New Year's, but we're here. And let's begin. Maria, I just want to acknowledge you're here for the first time, and it makes me feel very special. Thank you for being here. Lisa as well. And Natasha, you're also, so thank you. It's great to have you. And so imagine right now that we're not here, but rather being on a soccer field, right? Our energy. Thank you. If you can turn off your phone, I would appreciate it. We would have a different energy. We would have the energy of adrenaline and excited for the team. But we're here on the spiritual lecture. And so we're tuned for our soul, for our heart to really grow. But at the same time, we all come with prejudice because we listen through our filter. And what do I mean by filter? Some of you here for the first time, you're thinking, okay, Alisa has accent. Can I get used to her accent? Or she's wearing white green. It's not spring yet. Or you assessing each other. And so, and most of us are very intelligent, very smart people, very accomplished people. And we listen already from the spaces, oh, I already know this, I already know that, and I know that. And so what we're trying to do is we have this knowledge and we're trying to put the knowledge I'm giving right now on top of this knowledge. And then it becomes very muddy. And I have a request. If you can, today, for just 3 hours, can you put your knowledge just on the side? Because I know how intelligent and smart you are. But then you can listen from an open heart, open mind, because some of the knowledge I'll be sharing is outside of the box. And if you're putting on the knowledge, again, it's not just going to fit well. It's just going to be bouncing. And some of you don't see how you sit and watch me, but I see you. And some of you, when you have a prejudice in your mind, you're thinking, okay, that doesn't go with what I know, or I don't like this. No, I definitely don't agree with that. Your face becomes like this. And in your mind, you're starting to argue, right? Because you're not agreeing. And that's why I'm requesting, if you can, just put this knowledge for everything that you know away and listen from open mind. Because you can bring a bull to the river, but you cannot make a bull drink. So it's got to be your choice to be open and to listen to it newly. And Nina, we would love to have you. So join us. Everything later. Come. It's okay. It's okay. Join us. I wanted to share a story one time. I was leading a group therapy many years ago, and one lady was sitting in a group, and there was 20 participants, and she was sitting to me like this, with her back. And I asked her 5 minutes later, I said, "Can I ask you, why are you sitting with your back to me?" She said, "Alisa, you know what? I bought your programs online, and I heard your voice. I got used to it. But I was thinking you're going to be brunette with blue eyes, and that you would be younger, and you would have a different body type. And now looking at you, it just doesn't match my mind that you are blonde and you have a different complexion and brown eyes. So that's why I'm just listening to your voice." Imagine me leading a therapy to a person who is sitting with me with the back. Pretty challenging. And I said, "And where else do you show up in life where you feel like if person is not matching your ideals, your expectations, you kind of shut them off?" And all of a sudden she opened her mouth and she said, "I think I do that with everyone. Oh, no wonder why my husband is not talking to me now for the past 3 years. I see why my son is never visiting me while he's in college for holidays. And I see why my sister never invites me over." And then all of a sudden, it's the 5 minutes of the group therapy. She's starting to have all of these breakthroughs just because, again, she has so many ideas and expectations and prejudice, right? And so that's why I'm asking you again, let it all on the side and stay in this conversation being open. Do I agree to that? Thank you. And just check what popped up. I don't know what to do. I'm very bad with technology, so I just want to acknowledge that I'm doing the YouTube live right now. And I'm also got to glance at my notes so I won't forget anything. And right now, something is happening here. 1 second. So quick question to you. If you can be present right now so we can really get the space going, what kind of judgments or expectations you brought in today with you? Expecting something or listening already from a filter? If you can acknowledge, turn to your partner next to you and just say, "I feel like I'm already coming with the space of thinking like that and expecting that." So you can be fully clear and let them go. And also share, what do you need to bring into space to be open-minded and listen from open heart? Okay, can you do that? 2 minutes each. 2 2. Awesome. We have 2 2 2 2 2 2. Fantastic. We're doing quick exercise, sharing what kind of prejudice, judgment we're bringing into space, and we'll be back in 2 minutes. If you can also look into your life and see when you are entering a relationship, or if you're in a marriage, or if you're coming to work or meeting new people, what kind of judgment do you bring against them? And if you can just write it down to acknowledge the space. From which space are you listening to me or your parents? When we acknowledge in that space, we're getting present to our inauthenticity, and we can really shift that space. Thank you. And we'll continue in 1 minute. Somebody saying hello to you. Ready? Fantastic. Very good. All right. And so in Ayurveda, and Ayurveda means Aur, knowledge, and Veda, life. Ayurveda been around more than 5,000 years. And Ayurveda is not the knowledge of body, because we all have physical body. And it's inevitable that we're all born, but if we're looking at just our body, the moment we're born, we're aging. And at some point, we will die. Ayurveda is the knowledge of consciousness and our soul. And Vedas are saying that we are born. Our life goes not linearly like this, that here we're born and here we die. Actually, our life goes from down here to up here. Because if I'll ask you, what did you do on December 11th? Most of you will not remember unless you had a birthday or a wedding. And the reason why we don't remember is because most of our days we're trying to rush things. We're surviving life. And Vedas are teaching how to live life so we can be fully connected to our soul and live a fulfilling life. And we all have those days. The day when our children were born, or when we had a wedding, or special birthday, or special romantic evening or date. Remember those days, because during that day, our soul expands higher. And that's what Vedic knowledge is about. It's about expansion of you as a soul. And that's why a lot of people acknowledge me after these lectures, because they're expanding after the lecture. And that is what we're here for, to really learn, to grow, to pass our exam, and a few other things that we're going to dive in shortly and talk about. Okay? And so when we are here together, when women get together, what we're doing, we're exchanging the feminine energy. When we're getting together to make a difference for baby Pavlo or any other cause, we're expanding. And again, that's what the Vedic life is explaining. That's when we feel fulfilled and happy, because we're not meant to just worry about our physical body. And how we live in the modern day, we're concentrating on our physical body or our mind. Very seldom, very, very rare when people really concerned about their soul. And Vedas are explaining 50% we're responsible for our soul. That's where our true happiness comes from. 30% is our mind, and only 20% is your body. And the body is the temple of your soul. But most of the time, we're ignoring the most important aspect is our soul, because we're constantly living in our head, and head is full of fears and defense mechanism and thoughts. And we don't even know how to control that, because the thoughts and the fear is controlling us. And so that's why, knowing this knowledge, we can start being responsible for our life, our well-being, our happiness. And when we women showing up to this in a space, we are 9 times more powerful than men, because we women care aura. Aura or aura? Aura, thank you. Aura. And so, for example, When I go back home to visit my girlfriend in Azerbaijan, my girlfriend is constantly cooking, cleaning, cooking, cleaning. One child is sitting, go help me cook. Go do homework. Another child, stop watching TV. You gotta cook. You gotta help me. You gotta clean. And so her space, no matter where she shows up, is the space of anxiety. One of my clients, after I was talking to her about this topic, she came back after 2 months and she said, Alisa, you know what? I finally start to get what you're talking about, the aura. Because when I show up at home, 30, 40 minutes later, I start noticing my husband is telling me, stop teaching me, stop telling me what to do, stop teaching me, stop telling me what to do. And then I got present. It's like, who am I being that my husband is telling me that every 5 minutes? And then I realize I constantly tell him what to do. I'm like a teacher. But if I'm a teacher and he's a student, let me be honest with you, he's failing. He's failing it all. And then she said, you know what? I now get why he is anxious and annoyed with me. So I would like for you to just write in your note, if you brought any note, or maybe on your phone, to write down what aura are you bringing to the space when you're showing up. When I was reading this in Mahabharata, I realized the aura that I'm bringing when I show up into new place, even if people don't know me, never seen me, after 30, 40 minutes, they come to me and they start sharing with me sacred things about their marriage, about their kids, about their life. And all of a sudden, it made me smile. My heart is like, wow, people trust me. I bring the space of safety or some kind of vulnerability. I'm still not 100% certain, but there's some kind of safety because people gravitate towards me and they're sharing the most vulnerable thing. And then I start asking my husband, my other girlfriends, like, do people share this kind of things with you? They're like, no. And I asked my other girlfriend, do people share with you that? They're like, no. Now I'm like, wow, it's my gift. But again, each woman has a different aura. I am sure 5, 6 years ago, that's not the aura I was bringing into the space. But now, as I'm getting present, as I'm getting more grounded in our Veda spiritual knowledge and education, I'm shifting. So I would like for you to just quickly, in 30 seconds, to write down what aura are you bringing into your home, into your work, into your environment. Is it worry? Is it fear? Is it stress? Is it peace? Is it calm? Be authentic. Because the more you're authentic, the more you can get out of this lecture today. Just 30 seconds. Get present. Men have aura too, but not as powerful as ours. Now we're going to start diving into struggle that each one of us in life has. It could be with your boss. It could be with your husband, boyfriend, or child, or mother, or father. Because that's what life is about. We have certain exams that we need to pass. And so sometimes my girlfriends call me, and I remember a year ago, one of my girlfriends called me and she shared with me, she's like, Alisa, I cannot stand my husband. I'm seriously thinking to divorce him because I'm just put up with all of the complaining, ignoring. We don't go to vacations. He's never buying me gifts. He's never kind. He's never soft. He's never gentle to me. And I ask you, what do you want? What do you really want? And as I'm talking about her, I want you to start looking in your life. Where is your struggle with husband, mother? Because this conversation about you, it's not about her, okay? If you're listening to this conversation that it's about her, it's not going to make a difference. And she said, she took like, exhaled, and she said, I just want to help him because I think he's depressed and not happy. I said, okay. And as I'm sharing this now, I would like for you to start thinking how you can apply this to you. Because each one of us, when we're struggling with our significant other or parent or child, we cannot help them until we accept them. And now this might sound very theoretical, but I will start sharing something that I've been dealing for years with my husband. After a year that we've been together, I've noticed that when the honeymoon stage and the love stage started to come down, I've noticed that I get somewhat annoyed by my husband because my husband is very calm, he took time slowly to cook, to dress. We would go to dinner or would go to party. It would take me 15 minutes to take shower, to put makeup and dress and to be ready. 15 minutes. I am that fast, like military style. Not anymore, but it used to be like that. And my husband, I would be downstairs sitting and waiting, hour and a half, 2 hours. And I'm thinking, what is he doing? 2 hours? He has hardly hair, short like this. And 2 hours, he's not ready. I'm already ready to pass out, and he's still not ready. So my complaint against my husband was that he was slow. That was my filter. That's how I listened to him, that he's slow in making decisions, slow walking, slow cooking, slow talking, and it's starting to get annoying me. That's how I got attracted to him in the first place. He's the most calm and peaceful person, but all of a sudden, a year later, it annoys me. And as I'm studying Vedic knowledge, it says that means it's in your destiny. When somebody annoys you, pushes your button, in our soul, around our soul, we have a destiny. And destiny, it's not a honey, it's not a sugar, it's something that punches you and you get annoyed and frustrated. Whatever you cannot accept in the person, whether it's their character, whether they're angered, whether they're greedy, whether it's mother or father, it doesn't matter. That means it's your exam with them. I'm like, okay, I understand this theoretically. What do I do? My spiritual teacher tells me, wake up early in the morning, run around subdivision and pray with the sunrise. Easily said than done. I'm like, okay, let me try. I wake up, I couldn't do the praying because I was not connecting to it, even though I was in India before and I tried that, but I was still resisting because my head was going so busy, so many thoughts. I gotta do this, I gotta do this, I gotta do that. But I'm like, okay, let me start with affirmations. And I start doing the affirmation. I wish you happiness. I wish you happiness. And I would do that for 20 minutes. And then I would go for either walk or run, depending how I felt and depend on the weather. All of a sudden, as I continue to do that, 4 months later, I wake up and all of a sudden I see my husband and I look at him from a different space that, wow, he has this beautiful, bright blue eyes. He has this gentle smile. And as I'm looking at him, I no longer feel triggered that I don't like anything in him. I just feel this space of acceptance that this is who he is and that's how I fell in love with him. And I start to feel again this calmness and peaceful man that I'm married to. And I was like, wow, I think I get now. I'm in this level of acceptance. But I still could not understand, why is he still, I'm not getting triggered anymore. Why is he still making slow decisions? Why is he cooking so slow? But I started to feel acceptance that that's who he is. But I continued to do the affirmations. And 2.5, 3 months later, I all of a sudden wake up And I'm starting to feel him in my soul. And all of a sudden I get that, wow, all of this pressure from the family, from the childhood, where moms, or have Soviet moms or American moms who have perfectionism, who wants everything best, but puts a lot of pressure on son. And all of a sudden I started to feel that he is uncertain about himself. He's dealing with insecurity. And that's why he's taking time to do things, because there's uncertainty and insecurity. And all of a sudden, I look at him and I realize he's just perfect the way he is. And only on the level when you're not just accepting the person you are having struggle with, the second level is the level of understanding. You start to feel that you can now influence this person. And you gotta get that a husband will never listen to wife, and wife never listens to husband, even though they want the best for thing. But if you got to the level of not just acceptance, but understanding that person in your soul, all of a sudden I look at my husband, and as he's moving slow and as he's cooking slow, I feel harmony and acceptance. This is who he is. And there's no more judgment. There's no more making wrong. Is that who he is? And then at that level, if you want to influence somebody and ask them and give them advice, because you're at the level of understanding, which takes approximately between 6 to 7 months if you do the meditation, prayer, or affirmation, at least 20 minutes in the morning. The more you're gonna pray or do the meditation, the faster you're gonna get. And the reason why I'm sharing this, we all working not on ourselves, but we're working on them. We want to change them. But in the Vedic language, knowledge, it clearly states that love and kindness is about sacrifice. And sacrifice meaning you doing the meditation and you're not even asking, God, universe, please change my husband or my mother or my kid. You're just doing it. You are sacrificing because wherever your destiny is, wherever you're battling with, gonna start shifting, because all of a sudden, after a few months, you're gonna start feeling the density of the destiny in your soul gonna start getting softer. And my question, because we have Conquering Destiny group where we either pray or meditate in the morning, and I think it's 5 or 6 of us, who started to feel the shift with the person that they're with, who had the problem with. Does anybody wants to share? And if you feel comfortable, come here to share that. Does anybody wants to? If anybody feels that shift. Anything? Thank you, Eileen.
So Alisa has shared with us about the phases of a marriage, and one of them is the phase of disgust. And I remember the first time hearing it, I was like, that's not going to be me, though. Not my marriage. And sure enough, we did step into that phase, and it was really difficult, and felt that same way of like, he's the problem. And the more that I did the prayer, it yes, our dynamic changed, but I really felt my changing, and I really felt just this, anything that I was making such a big deal just not become as important anymore. Yeah, refocusing on me and my issue with whatever was showing up with him, it just started to dissolve. It felt like it didn't show up, but in hearing your story, my perspective just changed. It just wasn't irritating me anymore. So the same thing that you experienced, I also have. Yeah.
Acceptance and then understanding.
Very much so.
Yeah.
Definitely not at the soul level yet, but I'm excited to get there.
Yeah. Because in one of the lectures, I was discussing that at some point in the relationship, only after you go through the stage of disgust in the relationship, you can get to the point where you feel connection on the soul level. And when the people reach that soul level with their partner, it feels better than honeymoon.
Mm.
Because then you feel connected with your husband or your wife on the level, it's not physical it's not just emotional, it's spiritual.
Mm.
One time Eileen asked me, I think you, Eileen, or somebody else, is like, but how's the sex life? It's better than honeymoon.
Mm.
Because when you're connected on those 3 levels, it's completely different. Do you get that? Yeah. But we're at the point with husband where he thinks how to make me happy, and I think about how to make him happy. It's not selfish anymore. What can I get out of him and what he can get out of me? Because in a relationship, what we mainly do, we're either attached or we want to enjoy another person. We want to use or enjoy the other person. And that's, by the way, is the biggest problem. It kills love.
If I can say one more thing, with
Yes.
the percentages you're talking about, how we let that 30% of the mind control. I started hearing my thoughts when I was tapping into my soul daily with the practice that Alisa shared with us. I was hearing these thoughts that were coming as like a habit, like, oh, he's so whatever. I'd see him on the couch and that thought would pop up. And I was able to get on top of it. Like, no, I'm not taking that, what I just heard. No, he's amazing. He's wonderful. He's this. And I felt that taking over, taking myself back is what it felt like.
Yeah.
An empowerment of like, no, I'm not going to accept that.
Yeah.
I say what he is. And that tapping into that soul really made it easy.
Thank you. Because those thoughts and thinking, it's on autopilot.
Yes.
It's running us. And we're not even present and we don't even think about it, but it's there. And so the Vedas are explaining that that we each in our soul have 1% of God in our soul. And the God in our soul, that 1% in a man and in a woman, is different. God in a woman, it's God's love. And in the Vedic spiritual knowledge, God's love is God's wife. And he gave God's wife the best qualities. And that's why women are considered to be the best part of the world, meaning women are born feminine, loving, gentle, soft, kind, compassionate, wanting peace, wanting calm, wanted connection, and wanted relationship harmony and balance. These are the best qualities, right? And so in each person, if you can make your phone silent, and in our soul, then we have 1% of God's nature. And that soft, gentle, feminine, kind, loving, compassionate, it's God's wife feeling in us. And in men, 1% of God in man's nature is he's strong, he's rational, he's respectful, he's compassionate, he's wisdom. And so if we don't respect God's 1%, if men don't respect the feminine nature, God's nature in us, that man will never be happy because it doesn't accept God's wife in us. And if we ladies don't accept men's nature, that men are born leaders, powerful, strong, they're born for victory, for success, to overcome challenges, they're rational, they're wise, we can never be happy in the family life. This is a very basic but very important fundamentals, because we're living in a modern society where everything is backwards. Because there's three ways to, Vedas are explaining the three fundamental importance of our existence. Number one, we are born for happiness and love, or desire for happiness and love. Number two, we are born to succeed, to overcome challenges, and to learn and get the knowledge. By the way, knowledge, I'm not talking about math and chemistry, the knowledge of life. And the third, we all want to live, meaning we don't want to die. But what happens in the modern society, those two are flipped. And what women start to doing, instead of making the success, which is on number two, they flipped it on number one. Because a woman's number one priority, again, she's born for love and happiness. And men, number one, born for success and achieving and conquering challenges. But the moment the woman flips that and makes success and career and finances and independence as a number one priority, her feminine foundation gets broken. And that's why people get shocked. Like, Alisa, you are making more than 200,000 a year, working 6 hours a week, and now you're making zero? Why is that? I said, because it didn't bring me happiness. Because success was on number one, and independence and career. And when I learned that, it was easy to let go. I see. That's why I was empty. Because success was more important. Money was more important. And if we look at modern society, this is the truth. We're all chasing that independence, that success. And this is flipped. And then we cannot feel that true happiness, what we're born with. Because the girls, when they're born at age 1, they're already gentle, they're already soft, they're already smiling. They like when people look at them and smile. And the boys, they play, they put blocks, they play. They have different nature. And at age 5, a girl can see how mom treats dad and how dad treats mom and how they love each other. And if you ask how mommy and daddy love each other, like, they love each other, but don't talk to daddy, because when he comes after work, he's really angry. She already can tell. But if you ask a boy, how's mommy and daddy talk to each other? He's like, Mom, can I go out to play with boys? And they're chasing and playing, because the nature is different for a boy and for a girl. And so I would like for you to turn to your partner and just authentically share how much are you feeling that when and how and why did you flip, if you flipped and made the success and work a priority in your life? And what was the cost? Or if you feel like you're in the femininity and you are making the relationship and love the most important for you, how you can tell if you look at your life. If you work 40 hours a week, guess what you're making priority? You get that? And if you make a family priority, you don't even think about work. You don't even think about money. You don't even think about success. You don't even think about a boss or colleagues or all of the troubles, financial troubles. So authentically share, not making yourself wrong, just acknowledging, looking at it. Okay? Let's do that. 2 minutes. If you can, please write it down. What is the priority to you? Love and relationship and family, wife, husband, or kids? Or your career and work? If you're a man, career and work should be number one. But if you're a woman, family, love, happiness should be number one, a priority. Thank you. We'll be back in 2 minutes. People are right now sharing. One more minute. Thirty more seconds. Let's wrap it up. I just want to acknowledge that I forgot one part, because I know some of the people, maybe here, maybe who are listening online, might be really struggling with one parent or one partner in life or another. And when you want to heal a relationship, do you remember when I was sharing about acceptance and understanding? These are two fundamental stages to get to the point of fully feeling harmony and love with that other person. For example, if you're struggling with a parent and you live with them physically, or with a husband, you cannot heal a relationship where you're in a stage of disgust, really nasty disgust. You actually have to distance. And I've noticed people are very reasonable. They're almost at the stage of a divorce, or really punching their wife or husband. It gets to that point. And they're still under the same roof trying to make a relationship work. And it never works like that. In order to heal a relationship, you got to distance. And here you cannot be reasonable and say, but it's expensive to move out. Find the cheapest place, but move. Because once you are in a distance, you're going to start feeling the energy that you distance yourself from the toxicity, right? Or unhealthy environment. And once you're out and you start breathing, that's when you can start doing the meditation and affirmation, because sometimes the relationship becomes so painful. And if you're really constantly talking or visiting or constantly in a relationship, no matter how much you talk to this other person, it's going to get things worse. The distance is the first stage to heal. And as you continue doing affirmation or meditation or prayer, because you cannot start running until you start first doing the affirmation and only then meditation, and then later you can do the prayer, you're going to start feeling, oh, okay, I can stand them now. And when you feel like you can stand them, you can try 10 minutes meeting or a phone call, then 15 minutes and 20 minutes, slowly coming back. Yeah? Because sometimes 3 months ago, I've met a woman who is really struggling emotionally with one of her family members. And I've noticed she started calling me and leaving me messages for 25, 30 minutes, sometimes at midnight, at 1 o'clock in the morning, no boundaries. And I thought, wow, this is strange. I put one time boundary, ignored it. Second time boundary, ignored it. And I realized that's how in the family they cross the boundaries. And that's not healthy. We gotta have boundaries. And the boundaries, it first starts in a distance in order to heal the relationship. And the more you're in a distance, the faster you can heal the relationship. Don't be afraid to distance yourself. Yeah. And if you can, be in a separate bedrooms, hardly walking in the kitchen, grabbing something to eat upstairs, and staying away, but continuing your meditation. Because again, when the way the destiny works, you all of a sudden see a beautiful woman, she's gorgeous, and you're like, oh, I like her, I want her. That means destiny is already kicking, that you're gonna put exam through her and she's gonna push you through hell in life. And if you look at him, he's so smart, good looking, and charming. The destiny is already kicking. And I'll show you and I'll put you through hell. Because if a stranger right now tells me, one of the people on YouTube said on one of my YouTube videos, on one of my lectures, trash. And I looked at the woman and I thought, of course, it's radical. It's very spiritual, outside of the box. But it didn't trigger me. But if my husband right now tells me, your lectures are trash, it would punch me in the heart. So our destiny always works through the close people. And so the person that you're in love with gonna put you through misery. And the more you're gonna surrender and accept it, the faster you're gonna pass the exam. And by the way, the sooner you're gonna pass the exam, the next one gonna show up. I passed the exam with my husband. Guess who I'm passing exam with? My 7-year-old and my health. These are the two exams that I'm passing through. And oh, let me tell you, my 7-year-old is bombarding me from all the corners. I had to negotiate to clean this corner, over there, and over, because the Legos and toys are everywhere for 3 days. But I have to talk to him? He's, honey, can we please move? There was 3 tables here with toys like that, right? whole area, and whole area here. Can we please move it here? And the way I talk to him, and gently and kindly. Okay, mom, 1 table only. The next day I talk to him gently and softly. Okay, mom, but only to the other room. The more femininity, the more gentleness and softness I bring, because he's like alpha macho soldier, my 7-year-old. He surrenders. He's like, okay. The moment I turn on, I'm a mom. Come on, listen to me. No. Got it. And he's my exam. And it's my responsibility to pass the exam. I cannot make my son wrong. He's 7 years old. Do you get that? So I am working on me to make our relationship with the 7-year-old work so it is in harmony. But we as a human beings, typically we're like, bad one, bad one, bad one, wrong one, complain, bad. And that's what we're doing. And then we're not taking any responsibility to who we are, because we have enormous power within us. And Vedas are saying, if you don't see that 1% of God's nature in person, your relationship will never work. Because when you see a person and you see they're greedy, they're dumb, they're not intelligent, they're slow, they're lazy, all of that is a human nature in a man or a woman. That is 99% of the human nature. But if you see 1% of God's nature, which is very hard to do, but if you can achieve that, that's when your relationship gonna work. Because we as a women have so much power. If we see our husband, loser, dumb, not responsible, lazy, irritable, aggressive, whatever, this person becomes that. And we have to be responsible for that. We're not even saying that out loud, that I think you're stupid and dumb. and they feel already that they're stupid and dumb. Years ago, I knew a woman. She had 5 children, and her husband was in the construction. Golden hands, we say it in Russian. I don't know how you say when a man can do anything with hands. Handy. I would look at his work and the pictures. I felt like his work had to be in a museum. But because she was embarrassed that he was doing kind of a construction work and working with his hands, and he would come muddy, little bit stinky, with greasy hair, she would literally be embarrassed of him. It's like, but he's in the construction and he makes only $5,000-$6,000 a month, and it's 6 of us, 5 kids, me actually, and him. It's 7 of us. We're hardly surviving. And deep in her heart, her complaint was that he's a loser. And with this thought, do you think this man has a possibility? He doesn't. And so the work that he was doing, he was making around fireplace with wood, such an artwork, either with stone, either with wood, the way he was doing the railings, it was so gorgeous. But he was charging what other people would charge $5,000-$10,000, only 1,000, only 2,000, and he was perfectionist. So the thing that would anybody would take only 3-4 days, he would take him 2-3 weeks, because the art that he was doing. But he was making little money because she was looking at him. He's a loser. He's a construction worker. She was not even appreciating that he's an artist, working with art, working with stone. And so we have to be responsible. How we listen to our men, how to listen to people. We're not in tune. And so going back, just got present to how I used to listen to my husband, that he's slow. And I want to just cry. It's like first 2 years was listening to him, that he's slow. He's slow. That's how nasty it was. And we do that every day thinking that it's okay, but it's not. We're creating with our thoughts, with our feelings, with our aura, the close family to us. We're making everything else more important than our close family. Our husbands, our wives, our kids. And so going back to this three distinction that I was sharing about, the first is happiness and love and our desire to live with love and happiness. Second is our desire for success, knowledge. And then the third is our desire to live and not to die. Is that the love is not position of power. The position of power is success and knowledge. And when people have knowledge and success, it's a very powerful position in life. But this position belongs to who? To man. And our position is to create harmony, happiness, and love in our family. Because if a man comes home from work and wife who is success-oriented, goal-oriented, independence and money-oriented comes from work, they go head to head because they're exhausted. Because when a man comes home, he wants to relax because he was at war, bringing a baking home. And he wants to feel the love, the connection, the peace that woman creates. The aura at home is the energy of a woman. And a man is inspired to bring more baking home and bring more money home and be more successful if he comes home and the environment is of peace and love and harmony. And by the way, every relationship book says that man needs number one, sex. Yes, men are sexual beings. It's important. But do you know, at the core soul level, what they want more than sex, because it's on the physical level, is to come home and feel this peace and love. Appreciation, peace, and love. And that's what modern women are not capable of giving to a husband and a man. Because she doesn't trust him that he will provide and protect. And she's trying to provide for herself. And the more she's not trusting and trying to provide for herself, the more she's shifting to masculine, and they go head to head. Because in battery we have plus and minus, and then it works. But plus and plus, or minus and minus, doesn't work. And in the Vedic knowledge, we're all seeking right now in the feminism move, equality, which I'm 100% against. I think we're equal of importance. But at the same time, in all spiritual or religious sacred writings, it's very clear that there's no one higher than God. Then there's a mentor, guru, or teacher that people have to respect and go to for advice. Then there's a husband. And then there's wife. And then there's kids. And then cats and dogs and roaches. But we are trying to be equal. And women with the feminism move decided, no, we're going to even overjump. And by overjumping, men becoming more and more feminine. And men are becoming more and more scared to commit. Because why would they want to commit if they don't feel respect? And the fundamental foundation of happiness for a woman is love and happiness, but for a man is respect. And so God gave love, harmony, peace, balance to a woman, and consciousness, by the way, that is located in the soul, deep in the soul. Around the soul is the destiny, which is not a sugar, which we talked about. But consciousness is God's wife in our soul. But God left everything, the most important, to himself, which is decision making, wisdom, power, strength, sacrifice. Woman not gonna sacrifice her life for a husband. A man can. Because when we talked about we all have a desire to live, which was the third, a woman is running away from death. That's why she's driving carefully. If there's fights, she will go away. She's protecting her kids, she's protecting herself. She is running away all the time from death. That's why in her heart she's skittish. And that's why she would want to be always with man, because man protects her from herself. Lots of anxiety, worry, stresses, and anxiety. Even for a woman who was with 5 kids and saying, I want a divorce, I want to be alone, I said, okay, if you will divorce him, will you feel safe? And all of a sudden she's like, no. I said, just for that, is it worth it for you to stay with him? And you know what? After that, she never said to me how much she wants to leave him. Because a man brings that safety, the protection, the emotional safety and protection that another woman or woman alone cannot have. And that's why no matter how successful woman can become, if she's single, doesn't have a husband, doesn't have a man, doesn't have kids, she will never be happy, right? Yes. Because her number one desire is to connect, to have relationship, to have marriage and kids. That is at the core, at her DNA. We're born like that. But a man, when we're talking about death, he's not afraid of death. He doesn't want to die, but he wants to conquer death. And therefore, in life, he protests. And because he protests, his nature to be born, not to connect or have relationship or be gentle and soft and smoothy moody like a woman. He wants to conquer. He wants to achieve such a success so he can provide for himself and his family. And then he feels like he have achieved that and his life was worthy. Otherwise, he feels like a failure. So do you see how at the core we're very, very different, and what's driving us is very different. But now I would like to talk about the certain mistake that every man makes and why we as a women get hurt without fully understanding ourselves. For example, a woman can say, no, let's say this. A man can say to a woman, honey, it's 10 a.m., wake up, let's go eat breakfast. A normal woman will shut down and get hurt. For those who were not there 2 weeks ago on the Zoom, I would like for you to answer why a woman got hurt because her husband said that or her boyfriend. Any ideas? Honey, wake up, it's 10 a.m., let's have breakfast. Any ideas?
Maybe she would feel like she's a military and he doesn't love her. He's just rushing her and he doesn't let her take the time.
Yeah, it feels like a military.
Yeah, and maybe he can even bring the breakfast in the back. But it's not very ungrateful level of relationship.
Yeah, and she feels like even that he doesn't love her. A little bit louder, Maria.
Don't you, like, you don't respect, like, I cannot wake up like that. I mean, it's not about me.
Yeah, but it's every woman.
Like, a woman can think, right?
Yeah, it's absolutely true because a woman doesn't like when a man approaches her. Because if you wake up your husband like that, honey, wake up, breakfast is ready. To him, he's like, ready, wake up, to conquer, to go to work. To him, it's normal. That's his language. And that's why he wakes up a woman like that. But to a woman, she wants her husband or boyfriend and say, honey, you look so beautiful in this bed. The way you spread, so comfortable. The sun is up. Would you like me to bring a coffee? Or we can go and see a sunshine and enjoy the coffee. He wants her to do this. Gentle, kind, soft. But you have to get to a man to be this gentle, kind, and soft. It's one of the most difficult things because that's not his nature. But to a woman, she has the energy in her soul 10 times stronger than man's, and she's seeking that love and happiness and harmony from him. And when he comes from work, she just hopes that he will say, oh, honey, it's so good to see you. I love you. How are you? But men typically exhausted because he will put in fires off work. And he's like, where is my dinner? And so we have different nature. And until a man learns a God's nature in a woman that she wants this gentle, kind, soft talking and accept that, they will never be happy. Because a woman can get hurt and not talk to him even for a day because he just said, wake up, it's 10 a.m. But in his mind, he thinks, well, gurus and Alisa are saying it's good to wake up in the morning, to go around the subdivision and to eat breakfast. It's good for your immune system because you have allergies and cold. Wake up. And in his mind, he just doesn't get it. Why she's not talking to him for a whole day? Because it's a different mindset. Any questions about that?
Maybe the best way is just explain them in a nicely way how you would like to be treated.
Very good question, Maria. The truth is, and Vedas are also saying that, for a man to understand that something is important to you, he needs to hear that 50 times. Yeah, and we usually women, when somebody tells us, Alisa, do you think you can come 15 minutes earlier to my meeting? A woman's like, yeah, I'll come 15 minutes early. A man will ignore that. He'll come at 10 a.m. He'll need to hear that 50 times in order to understand that this is important. We can read between the lines. And that's why we're judging men. That if we said, talk to me nice and gentle like that, but men are not going to do that. You see, when we meet somebody in the beginning who is dating is God's nature of a man, strong, powerful, rational, wisdom, older, respectful, etc. And a woman, gentle, kind, soft, feminine, loving, compassionate. And then love makes it easy. And then they're with each other on a God's nature level. But then, as the passion 4 months, 5 months goes by, they start to treat each other and see each other for human nature in them. And that's when they go battle to battle. And so, if you want a man to change, first you got to get to acceptance and understanding. And then you can start slowly telling him, don't talk to me like that. Talk to me like this. Don't talk to me like that. My husband already knows. But oh my God, our son. Where I'm working on it. But this is the destiny in me. Oh my God, he talks to me like a general. And sometimes my hair goes up and I'm like, calm down. It's okay. 7-year-old doesn't know. Gotta still educate him. But oh my God, he's so bossy. And so on the 30th time only, he'll start thinking, okay, it's important to her. On the 40th time, he's gonna start changing slowly. And only 50th time, he will get, okay, I got it. It's really important to her, I'm changing. But it takes that long. Because when a woman is learning something, she's like a parachute or like a balloon. She's like, it makes sense in the soul. I'm going to start praying or doing meditation or affirmations. She got motivated by listening to lectures or being with the woman, and she started going up. For a man, it doesn't work like that. It's going to take a long time for him to get it. But once he gets the knowledge, the train starts to slowly move. And once it starts to move, it's impossible almost to stop. You got to do something so nasty to stop a man once he gets motivated. But for a woman, as she gets motivated fast, she gets demotivated as fast too. For example, you live here today feeling motivated and great, and you're going to start meditating or walking or running for 4 or 5 days. After 4 or 5 days, you're like, why do I need to wake up again and do this? Because no connection with other women, you're not listening to spiritual lectures every day, and motivation goes down. You understand? That's how we're different. And so man needs to hear it again and again, and we get hurt. I told him 3 times, talk to me soft, and he's still not doing it. I told him pay for my coffee, and he's still not doing. He's greedy. I'm not going to see him anymore, or whatever. Or that could be deal breaker. But he needs to hear that 50 times.
If we're going to tell him like every time, instead of I think we should skip sometimes, we can say, oh, you're nagging me all the time. I'm not good enough.
No, but you're not going to nag about 20 things. There's certain fundamental things that is important to you. And it's not about nagging. You are sharing what's important to you. Because a man is single focused. For example, if he's driving you to the restaurant and you're asking how was your day, he cannot do that. He can either tell you how was his day or how to get you to the restaurant. 2 things, his brain goes on fire. We women, we can multitask. We can do 5 different things. Tatiana was in a meeting today and was cutting the fruits, and she's multitasking. Men cannot do that. And that's why we get upset. Why I'm telling him this and he's doing it, but he's not getting it. By the way, men can really open and willing to listen to you and to even change only after you feed him. After you fed him, you have 15-minute window to talk to him. That's when he's present. The worst time to talk to him when he's watching TV or he got after work and he's stressed, exhausted, stressed. No. Feed him. And when you see he does this, his belly is full, that's when you can talk to him. That's when they can listen to you.
I do think I wanted to mention with her point about the nagging, I think it's part of it is how you're bringing it up. Because
Yes.
if you're saying this over and over again, but it's, I told you I don't like to be talked to this way, and you're in your masculine, they're going to be like, oh, she's nagging me.
Yes.
But if it's like, honey, you're doing it
Yes.
again, and even maybe even be silly and have a joke about it,
Yes.
you're bringing it up again, but you're not. You're doing it in feminine.
Yeah. Last time on the Zoom, Alina brought really good point that is written and also in Bhagavad Gita, which is a sacred writing, compared to Bible book. It says, if a woman talks in the language of feminine energy, a man can shift to feminine and match her. But if you're being masculine, if you're nagging or making him wrong, rejecting him or criticizing him, he's in a defense in the masculine and he's going to reject that. And that is with everybody. Ladies, I want to acknowledge that it's 11:35 and we're going to have a 10-minute break and then we will continue. But before we go on the break, can we take one picture together? Yeah.
Nice to meet you. I don't either. Мария.
Просто Мария.
My name is Nina. I really like some pairs of names. I think it's very convenient, very easy for the conversation. I forgot mine.
There's my well, my first day of that started just exactly right.
This is from Vedic. Vedic store. I like this store. Yeah.
So our participants from New York, one Elena and one Elena at home, want to say hi to you. So if you want to say hello. Hello.
Hello, good
morning.
Hi.
Hello. Hello.
Hi.
Hello. Hi. Eating break. Starting soon. 2 more minutes and we will continue.
Yeah, it was.
Carolyn, Катя, можешь мне горячей воды добавить, пожалуйста? Спасибо, дорогая. Да, чтобы тепленько было. Вот где-то столечко.
Ага, хорошо.
Спасибо, дорогая. Спасибо, дорогая, спасибо тебе. Еще что-то тебе принести?
Давай.
Не хочу с микрофоном бегать туда-сюда.
Хотел поправить.
Спасибо. Я тоже люблю, когда все ровненько. Yes. Yes.
She is very hard watching your private part. She tried to do it very hard, very good. It was so funny. Stop, honey. It's not good for your body. Stop. But she continued and said, "No, Mama, I want to make it myself."
Alisa, you're gonna find my hair everywhere.
Ah, it's okay. It's okay.
I'm shedding today.
I wonder why.
always.
New beginning, spring.
Out with the old,
Yes.
right?
Oh.
He says, my husband, we're so much better. Look, happy Saturday, Donny. He calls me toothless, eyeless because of my dog, and an awkward smile for me. This his favorite cartoon character.
I love it.
All three of them.
Oh, toothless! I love this dragon.
Toothless,
We have
eyeless,
three of them
and
upstairs.
me.
That's so cute. Oh. All right, ladies.
So silly.
Оксаночка, Татьяна. All right. Are we ready for a second part?
Yes, we are.
Where else are we waiting? What else are we waiting for? I want to make a quick announcement as you ladies are coming back. Our next meeting is on February 26th. It's going to be in the clubhouse, which is in the subdivision. And we're going to have a really, oh, we're waiting for somebody. Really special because we're going to have a yoga class. We're going to have a makeup class by Katya. And she's amazing. Look at her makeup. I don't think anybody can make shadows and makeup the way you do, Kate. It's so beautiful. I love it. I'm excited. And hopefully, maybe Maria can teach us Indian dance. Yeah.
So I wanted to tell you today, so
Let's do it. Thank you. And we're also going to have Elena who's going to do a sound. I can't remember this theory. It's not sound therapy, but it's something like that. It's very profound how you can heal through a sound. And so she's going to bring music and microphone, and we're going to start feeling the vibration. But I am so excited. It's going to be fun. Yes.
I need it.
Yeah, we all do.
I give her a compliment today for the makeup.
All right.
Oh, just the car makeup.
So this is what's coming. Are we ready to continue or more tea and coffee? Right. Come.
Can you tell about your Indian dances? What is that like?
So I think we'll discuss that because I'm professional in Indian dancing. I do classical Indian dance with Kathak, and also I do.
I'll include people. They're interested to hear about your professional Indian dance.
And I also do Bollywood dance and belly dance as well.
That is awesome.
In 2017, there was a national competition, Bollywood dance competition in New York, and I won.
Wow.
I just say to brag. I just say like I.
But it's you
really
should be
love
proud.
what I
Yeah.
do, yeah, and we can discuss what kind of method to do. Maybe what I'm thinking about. We can do maybe a mix of classical and Bollywood, but maybe in a feminine song. You know the Joda Akbar song?
Oh, I love it.
Kehni Bahara Jak. There is like one slow song saying about spring and love. It's something very beautiful.
Let's do that. That sounds
Not
amazing.
not something.
Yeah.
First makeup and then we dance.
Exactly. Yeah. It's going to be very feminine meeting. Yes.
I do workshops once. I'll be happy to see you. You can make the makeup.
I just want to acknowledge, though, we gotta continue, and that sound is bothering me. The sound, Chinik, yes. Oh. And we can maybe do the tea again after the lecture. We're gonna continue.
It's a Russian style tea before.
Tea before, tea during the break, and afterwards. Yes, thank you. All right. Oh, thank you so much. Coffee is ready, tea is ready. Come back, Nina, so we can continue. So where we left off. By the way, any questions about the first half of the lecture? Anything at all? Yes.
I have one question. Can you just tell, like, in brief about stages in marriage? So you mentioned one. What's the first two?
Because if I'm gonna make stages right now, it's not gonna make a difference. For the first stage is the stage of physical connection, because when a woman meets a man, she looks at him from the point of, I like you because of your intellect. And men get attracted because of the sexual desire, physical appearance. If man is not interested in how you look, how pretty you are, he's not gonna pursue you. He's not gonna chase you. And this is the first stage, right? The second stage is the stage of It's not confusion, but I'm forgetting. Uncertainty. Thank you. I'm like looking for this word.
Yeah.
When people are not sure, do they want to be together? Do they want to stay together? They're not sure whether you're the one or not. They go through that stage. And on the third stage, they're starting to. For a woman, she is already ready to get married on the second stage, sometimes on the first one. And on the first, exactly. In the white dress on the second date. But a man start to slowly develop feelings only after the second stage of uncertainty. On the third stage, it's called getting closer. And that's when a man just starts to get feelings for you and start thinking, maybe I can have a relationship. And that's when he starts to fall in love with her. Only then. The fourth stage is the stage of being inclusive, exclusive, meaning you don't date each other anymore. On the first stage is the stage of engagement, and then the sixth stage, the stage of the wedding. The stage of disgust for every relationship could happen at any point. Sometimes it could happen in the stage of uncertainty. Sometimes it could happen in the stage of after the wedding, because most of the time people now, when they date, what they do, they're sexually attracted. That's good enough. Let's start having sex and then we'll figure it out. And that's why this stage of disgust happens much, much, much later. But typically, it's supposed to happen before the engagement, before the all exclusive relationship. So for everyone, because people are not dating properly now, it could happen at any point. But only after people go through in a marriage or relationship through the stage of disgust, they can really start feeling the true love for each other. They're not going to feel emotionally, spiritually close like this until they go through the stage of disgust. And 99% of the marriages and relationship ends in the stage of disgust because person cannot stand that person. They just hate them. They see only the bad qualities. They get annoyed by it.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. And in the dating stage, people break up in the stage of uncertainty. But this stage is important because that's when people distance each other. And after 3, 4, 5 weeks, if no one is bothering him, especially men go through that stage, he actually starts to really fall in love. He's like, yeah, she's the one. I like her. And if you bother him during that stage, he's gone. And again, the disgust, both of them go through the disgust. Uncertainty, it could be one, maybe two, but usually it's a man. But in the disgust, both hate each other, cannot stand each other. Everything annoys them. And by the way, that stage can go on for years. For years. And until the person realizes, okay, let me take just one day at a time, and focus on my friends, focus on my hobby, focus on high relationship and grow myself, they won't be able to pass the stage. It's one of the most difficult stages to go through. And when you hate each other like that, just, that's a stage. Everybody goes through it. And only the beautiful thing, after you go through the disgust stage, you get to the bliss, where you feel not just on the physical, emotional level together, but on the spiritual. I look at my husband because we passed the disgust stage, by the way, last year. COVID. You cannot go anywhere. We're stuck at home and we go through this stage. We went through it for 4 months. It was so rough. But we're like one day at a time. And then all of a sudden in January of last year, we wake up and we're like feeling so close to each other. I feel like it's a bliss paradise, like heavenly good. And all of a sudden now I look at my husband. He's not just husband. He's a partner. He's a friend. He's a soul mate. I look from him. Sometimes I look at my husband and I'm thinking, he's like saint. Seriously, because a few weeks ago I had angina. How's angina? Strep.
Sore throat, yes.
Strep throat. And as I'm having this strep throat and I'm upstairs, he's bringing me soup, he's bringing me tea, he's bringing me lemon and honey and ginger every 30 minutes. and he's cooking and he's driving our son and he's driving him to Russian school and he's doing all of the homework. And then I ask him, honey, how exhausting it is for you while I'm sick and you have to take care of the dog and our son. He's like, that's not hard at all. I love you. And on the days like that, when now I am fine, I can drive our son to school in the morning. And he's like, you know what? You just do a little bit more your meditation and yoga. I know how it's important. I'll drive him. And all of a sudden, as I'm watching the lecture of my guru, and he says, the most difficult askeza to a man is to get to the point where all he wants is to conquer life. And he's like, give me life, all the challenges, give me. But all I want for my wife to be happy, for her to do nothing. And I'm saying, can you come and listen to what my guru is saying? This is you. This is you. And I got moved to tears. I said, how did I got to the point to deserve this kind of man who is every day is doing everything for my life to be happy so that I don't have to worry about anything? You want to go draw? Go do your mandala. I'll do the homework with our son. You don't want to cook meat because he understands that I don't like to cook meat. He's like, you know what? Don't worry about doing it today. I'm just going to do kebabs. That's how my husband is. It's truly remarkable to experience that kind of spiritual and loving connection with your partner, where you're no longer selfish and thinking, how can I use him? How can I get things from him? There's none of that at all. It's like I'm thinking, how can I make him happy? And in return, he thinks, how can I make her happy? But you gotta get that this kind of relationship is impossible if you are not filled inside. And so Vedas are saying that there's 3 types of love. And this is very important for you ladies to know. First love, called love faith. Second is love of passion. Third is love responsibility. Love passion, we'll all know. Chemistry, physical action, I want her, I want him, and the relationship starts. That's how 90% of relationships starts and marriages go. 8% of the relationships, like, okay, he's smart enough, good looking enough, let's do it. They're responsible, they want to have kids, and they go into life. But there's also sometimes all of us at some point in life go through experiences when we meet someone and we're just so crazy about them. We want to love them so much. But Vedas are explaining love works in circular way. And when we give love, at some point it should come back. Because if the love is not reciprocating, we feel like we're suffocating. And so the problem with love faith, it doesn't belong to a man. It doesn't belong to a woman. And at some point in our life, when we felt so strongly in love with them and we wanted to make it happy, we wanted to give all of our love to them. And then we couldn't feel why they're not reciprocating. It's because for people, it's impossible to love with the same amount of love and give back. And so there's 2 options. When people love with so much love inside, they either run away from that person, which is, by the way, the best solution, or the second, they accept this love that doesn't belong to them, belongs to higher power. And then they feel proud. And each one of us, either now or in the past, experienced that. And then, if person accept that kind of love for themselves, this other person that gives them this love gonna feel humiliated. Because then this person feels like God himself. And when they're proud like that, pride produces only humiliation. It kills love. And so I see sometimes women are struggling. Either they give so much love because they have hidden agenda. If I give you this much, you'll give me something back in return. Or the worst thing, they love so much and they're expecting the same love back. But this amount of love, it's suffocating another person. It's too much. They cannot handle it. But if we give this amount of love that we want to give to a higher power, He never rejects us. God can never reject us. It gives you back even more, 100 times more. And so you have to get how we got to this point of a relationship in the marriage where we feel so much connection and love and spiritual connection is because I was doing everyday prayer, everyday walking. And as I was feeling myself up, I was giving it to Him. 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 And as He filled Himself up, now He's giving back. He's giving back. He's giving back. And I'm like, wow, I don't have to work. I don't have to do anything. I just cook. No, obviously, I take care of the home. I take care of our son. I take care of him. But literally, I don't feel like I'm doing much. I'm just being a woman. And that's a completely different lifestyle where I'm 100% dependent. But this is the beauty of this trust of a dance where you trust your husband that he will take care of you. And he knows that I will take care of him. It's like you're in tune and you know what makes him happy. And again, going back to Vedic knowledge, we have to understand that how to make another human, your partner, happy is you gotta know these fundamentals. For men to learn how to talk this gentle and soft to a woman, how to dance with her like that, because to her it's so critical. And that means accepting her nature, and her nature that she's born for beauty, love, happiness, harmony, balance, and not to go to work, not to worry about how to pay bills and mortgage and car payments and utilities, nothing. All of those financial concerns, 100% on him. And your responsibility is to stay calm, beautiful, take care of yourself. And we are responsible for giving love. Because God gave us, again, the best of these qualities we deserve because we give life and we give love. We have a right not to work, not to stress, not to be responsible. Responsibility is a masculine energy. Decision making is a masculine energy. It's all on men. Paying bills is a masculine energy. It's all on them. Cooking, taking care of the house, having the atmosphere of love and happiness, it's our responsibility. Making sure that we're not screaming or complaining or criticizing or judging, it's our responsibility. The atmosphere at home, relationship, connection is our responsibility. That's a woman's nature. And a woman's nature, if she doesn't respect a man, she will never be happy. And that means she surrenders that he is older. And older, I don't mean age-wise. Do you remember? God, mentor, husband, wife. That she goes to him for the questions, for the decision-making. Right now, I cannot stand the teacher of our son. She's giving us such a hard time. Such masculine, feminist, constantly telling him no, screaming at him and other boys in class. He comes home, he's like, Mom, I hate school. So I'm talking to him, And I'm talking to Vladimir. He's like, okay, next year we're going to start private school. Start looking for it. I would like it like yesterday. But I understand it's expensive. And I'm not crossing the boundaries. I'm not saying I'm going to go to work. I'm going to make money, and we're going to go to private school now. I am patiently waiting and praying. And finally, last week we had a meeting with the teacher, and I actually talked to principal. I said, our son is depressed at this point, and we're trying to make a decision to leave your school. Can you please do something? Because I've been emailing the teacher 10 times not to scream at him. He is sensitive. Can you please change our teacher? He's like, we cannot go by the personalities. Yes, I understand. But how can we talk to the teacher so she can hear us? And I've been sending such a feminine emails, such a soft. Finally, the principal talked to her. And for the past 3 days, our son comes home. He's like, Mom, she stopped screaming at me. I'm like, is it better for you? He's like, yes. I'm like, thank you, Lord. But why I am trying to share all this is that at the core, I understand that this woman is screaming because she's overwhelmed with 20 kids in class. She's overwhelmed, she's pregnant and has 2 kids at home. So imagine, how can she be calm? How can she be kind, feminine, and gentle when she has 2-year-old and 3-year-old at home and pregnant and has 20 kids? I feel compassionate towards her because her job is to be at home with kids and not to teach other 20 kids. When we do everything right, when we live by the laws or rules, not by, I'm sorry to say that, government or society, but the higher rules, everything works. No matter how much money I was making running the practice, I was still feeling empty inside. That's why I let go. And it was not hard, even though I was going towards it for 5 years. But finally, when I let go, and sometimes my husband is asking me, do you miss work? I'm like, no. It's amazing. This is what I'm doing. Drawing and leading free lectures. And that fills my soul. And being a mother and being a wife. Interesting. I miss people that I worked with, but I don't miss the work part. Because woman is not belong in the workplace. Her place is at home with kids and husband. And it's very hard to accept that. A woman can work because home life could get boring, could be stressed because at home we're working. But she doesn't have to stress about work. She got to work because she wants to. For 2 hours, for 3 hours a day, because she wants to. I want to do this. I am studying and preparing for the lectures. I'm kidding you not, 40 hours. 40 hours. And every month it's a different lecture. It's not like Tony Robbins, the same lecture for 30 years. Do you get that? It's every month it's a different lecture. But I do it with love. I don't have to do it. I want to do it. But it's a different lecture. It's not the same.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Because you will be super light.
Getting practice at it, getting better at it. I get it. Absolutely. Yes.
Maybe not only for me, but for other ladies who are not married.
Yes.
Maybe some
Yes.
online.
Yes.
Yeah.
Ask question. Yes.
Yeah, how you can find the balance, because when you work and you're by yourself, you're paying the utility bills and car bills and everything, but being in a female energy at the same time, because you cannot be in female energy 200%, because
Yeah.
then you'll be lazy at home with no.
Very good question. By the way, this is the most popular question I've heard in 19 years of my practice. And so the questions for YouTube followers to hear it. How can Maria ask a question, can be feminine and continue to work? One of the gurus that I heard years ago, participant in his lecture was asking the same question. And he said, well, just come home and shift to feminine. Just shift to feminine and it will work. And then she's sitting 20 minutes. She's like, but how? How can I come home and be feminine? He's like, just shift and come home and be feminine. She 20 minutes later or 30 minutes later, she's like, but how? And then he looks at her, he's like, you cannot do that. It just doesn't work. And she's like, really? So there's nothing I can do to shift the femininity after work? And he said, if you're ready for the answer is no. I thought, as I was cutting the hours from 30 to 20, from 20 to 10, from 10 to 8, from 8 to 6 a week, 6 hours a week, I thought I can come home and be feminine. 30%. 30%. Not 50. 30. And I can tell that now because when I was in the 30, I thought I'm on 100% femininity. I couldn't even see. Only when I fully let go of work in June, around August or September, I started to see, wow, I was only in 30% of femininity. So the answer is every woman is seeking for that balance because it's hard for a woman to let go of work, of success. But I understand because you don't have a husband or boyfriend, you have to work. But Vedas are explaining when woman is born, she has to be under protection of a father. Then she has to be under protection of a husband and later of a son. Because you don't have protection of a father or a husband, you can work. But how can you work so little that you don't feel overwhelmed and stressed? Because if you can work right now, maybe only 20 hours a week, so at least you can have 20 or 30% of femininity, you can still attract. But with some people who are working hours, let's say 11 or 10 p.m. shift because they're nurses, their schedule is upside down, let's put it this way. Because a woman, it's so critical for a woman to wake up with sunrise, but definitely not later after 8 a.m. If sometimes people have a hard time to wake up and they wake up at 10 and 11 on a daily basis, it's hard for them to in tune to the energy of sun. And sun's energy, it's God's energy that gives and brings the success, conquering life, meeting that right person. And feminine energy is the evening time when the moon goes up. And if you cannot walk and do meditation in the evening, how can you be connecting to the feminine energy if you work during these hours or if you sleep during these hours? That's why the right schedule is so important. So cutting the hours, waking up, ideally 6 o'clock, going to sleep at 10 p.m. That's ideal. But if it's 7 a.m. or 7:30 and going to bed at 10:30 and 11, it's okay. Because from 10 p.m. to midnight, that's when our physical body relaxes. Mm-hmm. From midnight to 2 a.m., emotional body relaxes. And from 2 a.m. To 4 a.m., our unconscious is relaxing. And if people go to bed at midnight or 1 o'clock,
Performing.
yeah. So we gotta know that it's important. But this is a great question. Thank you. I usually get this question on practically every lecture.
General question: who will do work?
Who will do work is a man.
Just for joking.
Yeah, a man gotta do the work. And again, if a woman thinks that she doesn't trust a husband to provide and protect, or she thinks he's making only $50,000 is not enough, that's also the human nature in her. Because one of the things, we gotta accept husband's salary. The less I worked, the more husband was making. When I quit job, he was making more. But at the same time, if I want to go right now 2 times to Russia per year, it will not happen. And I gotta surrender to that. But interestingly, when I stop working, I don't even want to go to travel and vacation. I feel so good at home. The less, actually, the more. I don't need shoes. I don't need dresses. If I have, good, but I don't have, good too. It's the simplest things make me happy. Because when you're working, you're anxious, you're stressed. You want to travel more. You got to have more material things. You got to have more vacations, more of this and more of this and more of that. And nothing is ever enough. And when you let go, everything that you have is enough. And there's so much peace in it. And people will think, if they look at my life, it's like so boring, routine, so boring. But there's so much happiness in this peaceful and boring life to others. Very peaceful. Very,
We
very.
all want to be you right now.
What is that?
We all want to be you right now.
And you can, because if we don't have a plan, a formula how to live, we're hoping that somehow things gonna change. And we're hoping that this person will change, the relationship will change. But like Einstein said, and I like to translate him from Russian to English, I love that better, is once the person understands that they're stupid, they're no longer stupid. So once you understand you're doing something that will not make a difference, and you stop doing that, you're no longer going to have the same results. You're going to have a different results. And I'm just showing you the formula that worked, because then you're not relying. Because what happened is, once we decided we're going to take God out of the equation, and what we start doing is we believe in people. We're born believing that this man gonna come rescue me and make me happy. My mother gonna make me happy. My kids gonna make me happy. This sexy woman gonna come into my life, make me happy. That means we're believing in people. And that's the biggest mistake. At any point, anybody can say something and you're gonna get hurt. At anybody, person can break up with you. At any point, they can lie or they can cheat, because we're putting too much trust in people. And that trust and that attachment to love gotta go to God. If you want to get love, only He can provide that, not people. And we gotta reverse that. We gotta stop expecting that from people. Because once I let go of the complaint about my husband, that he's drinking 3 glasses of wine every weekend, that he's slow, once I accepted he's drinking and understand why, once I surrender that he takes time to do things, and I fully accepted that, wow, I felt so much bliss and happiness, because I turned to higher power for happiness. And now he's there and we share each other, but we don't depend on each other. Give me happiness, give me this, give me that. Even though, again, a woman is waiting for the happiness from man and love. But the more how you can sacrifice is by doing your work and meditation or affirmations and prayer. And then there is going to be a time, either 2 or 3 or 6 months or a year, he will start reciprocating. It's just we all want immediate results. And the problem is, if we don't have relationship to a higher power, if we don't feel that the person reciprocates right away, we feel really angry. We get really upset. And by the way, that is selfishness. When we are waiting and accepting certain things from other person, and when we're not getting, we're getting hurt and upset, that's selfishness. And when you don't accept anything and you turn to higher power, that's sacrifice. And sacrifice is love and kindness, which is very hard to achieve to both men and women. To a woman, one of the other things that is extremely hard to achieve is that when her man comes from work and he tells her, "Bring me food, I'm hungry," it punches her in the heart, because she was waiting for him to come gentle and soft and say, "Honey, could you please bring me dinner? I'm hungry." But because he was putting 20 fires at his work and his project, He's just thinking, I just want to eat. And when she says, I'm not your slave, go cook yourself, he thinks, I've been to work. I've been cooking and I've been putting the fires. I've been bringing bacon home and money to you, because men work, by the way, not for themselves. They go to the gym to get the biceps, not for them. They do it for us ladies. It's in their DNA to look good, to conquer life for us. And then when we say, go cook yourself, because we cannot just understand that they are exhausted and tired, we're punching them. And so we got to understand that when he comes home, he needs to eat first. Let me serve him. And for us, it's very hard to do, because we have all of these emotions. We want to talk, we want to connect and experience harmony and closeness and relationship. And he just wants to eat. And after he finished eating, you have a 15 minutes window to connect. And this is hard for us, to get in tune with them. Any questions?
Why do men? I was asking some of my friends. I was asking my friends, like I made those kind of examples. Like, how do you like this woman who can achieve, who like goal oriented? Do you like those kind of women? Are you attracted to those kind of women? And what I heard, it was, well, she's interesting, and like they kind of love it. So why do they love it? Do they not know they want to be attracted to the feminine, like kind of, or they think it's like kind of not enough for them to get femininity from a woman? They want also like all that practical stuff.
This is a really good question, Kate, and let me answer that. There's this, for the first time in the history, we have a phenomenon right now, because women started to shift to masculinity and making success as a priority, because a man and a woman, if they both going to be in the masculine energy, they're going to fight. And men, in order to be with a woman, they started to sacrifice. And how they start sacrificing, they start shifting to feminine. Some sacrificing consciously in order to somehow work with women, to have a relationship with women, because they have sexual needs to have sex with women. But to our alpha men, they cannot bend and they cannot shift to femininity. And so these men are very single and very angry right now, because feminist women are going through a hard divorce, through a really hard legal procedures. You ask a man, do you feel comfortable right now sending your flowers to a woman's job as you're chasing her? He's like, no, it's going to be a sexual harassment. That's how men right now scared of women in United States and Europe. Yesterday, I was talking to my friend Victor. He's from Colombia. And he said, do you know, when I went to Colombia, I used to remember we used to sing a serenade to ladies in the balcony. Now they don't do that either, because of that considered sexual harassment. So we've been killing a man's nature. So men right now are really disbalanced. And so right now, when you're talking about the men who like the strong women, these are feminine men. And feminine men who sacrifice themselves to really be feminine, or majority of them are actually coming from the single household, where a masculine woman was so tough, a man left her and divorced her because they cannot stand a masculine, strong-willed woman. And so women think she can raise by herself a strong-minded masculine man. But no, a woman is very emotional. 90% of us is very emotional. 90% of men are very rational, and that's how we complete each other. And so her boy grew up to be very emotional like her. And so he's not even like a man. He's more like a boy who is feminine in a masculine body. And to a man like that, he has a lot of insecurities because he never had an example. If just seeing a dad on the weekends, by the way, that's not enough. And so he is now, to feel secure, he wants to be attracted to strong-minded, strong woman, because he will feel protection from her, because in the background, in the subconscious, she is to him like a mother. Mother was protecting him all the time, and now wife gonna protect. And that relationship gonna remind him of a mother and son. Eventually he gonna grow up, and guess what he gonna do when he gonna become a man? He will leave her. A masculine women have no chance of making any relationship work. This domination over and over, her kids eventually will leave. And by the way, when she becomes older, they're not going to even visit her in a nursing home. And they not definitely would want to live with her. And a husband, a masculine, provider, protector type of a man, not going to live with her. So only feminine type of man going to be attracted to strong, tough, masculine woman. If a masculine man going to be with a masculine woman, they're going to fight all the time until it's her responsibility to shift to femininity, so they create the balance. Did I answer that question?
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. This is a very good question.
Well, I wanted to add, I think our modern society kind of, makes nowadays ladies to be very goal-oriented and
Yes.
go-getters and strong
Yes.
and stuff like that. And the men do like that. I experienced that myself. Men do like that, and they do get attracted to that independency, that strong will, that have everything together, strong-minded and stuff. But when those two people get together, that's it. That's where the woman should let go of her, masculine energy and shift. Because man cannot, that's when I experience, that's when, okay, that's great.
Excellent.
But now it's my turn to be in
Yeah.
that.
Well, let me correct that.
Yeah,
Because hold on, let me explain. Now, a man can be attracted because all of the movies and all of the video clips and all of the books are now written about the strong and masculine woman that kills men, that rides motorcycle and tanks and all of that. So it programs people to be attracted to this masculine women. However, they can be attracted to her on the sexual level, but they will never marry a woman like that, because there will be tension. So if we're talking about attraction, yeah, it's interesting. She's independent and strong, where they can talk. But for the sexual energy, it works. But would they want to marry a woman like that? No. No. So you're right. A woman got to let go. But how can she let go when she's making so much money and success oriented? Because to her, number one is success, independence, money, right? And so, thank you.
I thought maybe like the second case of it is when they meet. For example, she got birth. She like has to put her to her feminine energy, and the man is like disappointed. What are you like feminine here? I want a man like near me, And they split. I think it's kind of my case, because like, what are you sitting here? You have 2 kids. Go to work. Like, are you here or something? Go do something.
Yeah, and again, a man that's in Ayurveda called degraded man. And now this is something that a lot of people don't like to hear. In Vedic language, it clearly explains that if a woman flips and makes success a priority, she's a degraded woman. If a man flips and makes success not a priority to him, but love and happiness, he's a degraded man. For Americans, it's very hard to hear these harsh words of degraded, but as a Russian, I'm just saying what's so, because that's not how we've been living for millions of years. And now for the first time in the modern time, it flipped, but there's nothing healthy about it. And that's why for the first time, we're experiencing 80% of divorce all over the world. And this is a big problem, because a woman decided, I'm going to be masculine. And I don't know why we're getting programmed like that in the society, because that is everywhere. Maybe because we're overpopularized, there's population is out of control. I don't know. But the family dynamic right now is getting to the point where men and women are hardly living together.
I wanted to add, I think where it's coming from is that from the families, because we are nowadays pushing our kids, no matter it's a girl or boy, that you have to be
Succeed,
successful,
study
you have to
hard.
be independent, you have
Yeah.
to, take care of yourself. You cannot depend on anybody. So we're pushing colleges and this and that, and that's great on one side, but on the other side, maybe we're missing the part that we need to teach our children, our girls, to be feminine as well. To be, the relationship between, how she needs to be with a man. That's what it seems probably, no?
Yeah, but we cannot teach kids, because I see sometimes moms who want their boys to be successful and tough, but they can't, because a mother can only teach a daughter how to be feminine if she's feminine, and only a father can teach a son how to be masculine. And that's why kids need two parents. And if a mother will be telling her daughter, be gentle, be feminine, but she's tough, stressed, goes to work 40 hours, stuck in traffic, she cannot give that femininity to children. Talk is cheap. That's why I had to let go of career, because I realized I am battling my 7-year-old. I am not feminine enough. And I'll talk about, there's 4 different gunas in Sanskrit and in spiritual or Vedic knowledge. We're either born teachers, we're either born warriors, we're either born businessmen, salespeople, or we're born as a craftsman. By the way, last week I learned that only 1% of the people are in these 3. Most of us are now in this craftsman. We just have a shadow of a teacher, shadow of a military, shadow of a businessman. And so my son is the second type, which is real alpha military. These are future managers. These are future CEOs, soldiers, militaries. He's tough. And I'm so exhausted. And so in order for me to get along with him, I have to be not just feminine. I have to be super feminine. My grandmother, when I was going to Russia to visit her when I was a little girl, I would say, Grandma, at 7 p.m., when it's time to go to sleep, to a 5-year-old, let's go ski. She's like, okay, we'll go ski. New Year's Eve, we don't have a Christmas tree. Grandma, let's go to forest. Let's cut the Christmas tree. She's like, okay, let's go to Christmas tree. And we'll cut it. So we're in the middle of the forest. We're cutting, a 5-year-old and a 90-year-old cutting the Christmas tree, the big one. So no matter what I would say, she's like, yes, let's do it. Yes, let's do it. And as I've been telling our son this every night, how my grandmother was, she's like, this is love. This is how I want you to be to me. Yes, everything. Yes, everything. And I have to educate him. And the moment I start educating, he's like, no. And I'm like, wow. So if I continue to work, I cannot generate that softness and gentleness and femininity. And once I let go of work, the more I surrender to the higher power and meditation and the prayer, I start to realize, oh, you want this? Okay. You want this? Okay. But a stressed woman who is working and concerned about paying bills, she cannot do that. And it's a talk is cheap. We gotta show. We gotta show. Actions speak louder. And so sometimes women are saying my YouTube videos like, oh, your video is trash. Because of course it's hard to surrender that the problem is not over there. The problem is with us. And that hurts to hear that. It punches. And for me, for years, it's like, wow, I have 3 degrees. I've studied in India, I've studied in Russia, I've studied in Azerbaijan, I've studied in China, I've studied in United States. And now I have to let go everything I was working for. But yes, if I want to make a family work, if I want my son to grow up emotionally happy and healthy, yes, I sacrifice. But sacrificing, it means I thought, wow, I let go so much, but I get on the other side, there's so much bliss and happiness. It's priceless.
So it doesn't even feel like sacrifice.
It's not.
It doesn't feel like
It doesn't feel. I thought it would be such a big deal, but it's not. It feels a bliss, and that's why we're so fearful of being dependent, so fearful of letting go of the work, so fearful of trying new things, so fearful of a change. But when you go on the other side, it's like, wow, that's what I've been seeking all my life. Studying psychotherapy, neuroscience, hypnotherapy, and spirituality, and you name it. Psychoanalysis and counseling, so many degrees, calculating and paying the loans. And then it's not it, and it's not it, and it's not it. And it's so simple. And now I'm studying Vedic knowledge, and I was like, oh, this is it. That's what it feels right in my soul. Is a woman is born to be a woman. Soft, gentle, compassionate, conscious, peaceful, loving, nurturing, connecting, having relationship, taking care of husband, of herself and kids, connecting with women, doing lectures, dancing, doing the feminine things, and not go-getter, because that's what destroys us. I've done it for so many years.
I will say, even having a mother, being in the masculine, and even if she was doing feminine things, she was stressed.
Yes.
She was cooking, and
Yes.
seeing her cleaning the house and hating it, and that made me, I don't want to do that.
Exactly.
It made me, like, even if she would verbally tell me to be feminine and be soft or whatever, children absorb,
the
so
energy.
I can see that a masculine woman is not going to be able to transfer that. And now, in having your teaching and transferring it through practice, I'm wanting to cook or clean the house and do the dishes when it's something that I've learned to hate from my mother.
Yes.
And then I'm doing dishes and I'm cleaning. What happens? My husband comes and he wants to love on me too. I'm like, you like me like this? What? Yeah, he loves the feminine. So it hurt. That punch, I had to stop reacting to that. In realizing that I was the degraded one, taking that responsibility was power. Yeah. And it's so much happier, and just realizing nobody else needed to do the switch. I did. When I turned feminine, he started changing too. And I didn't try, like, oh, I need to cook because it's feminine. I need to, clean the house because the home is the female's responsibility. That's still the masculine mentality to do that. I action, go. So the more I just focused on being feminine, focused on my spiritual growth. Yeah. Then I actually started wanting to, and I never thought I want to do dishes. No.
Yes.
But it happened. It's so true. Yeah. It's a natural thing that's just going to unfold.
Yes.
If we stop focusing on the outside and come back.
Yes.
I'm proof of it, y'all. I had no idea that it was going to happen.
So happy. Yeah. Thank you for sharing that. Anything else while I'm trying to catch up where I left off?
I can add that. I think I was raised the same way. When my mom, which is very powerful woman, she used to complaining. She needs to cook. She needs to clean. I was growing up like that. And then I saw some countries when I started to live with my boyfriend. Yes,
louder, Maria, so people can hear you.
Yeah, when you're complaining, that I really, through those many years, I started to change. And then after my graduation, my first university, I started to live in Turkey. I was an interpreter, and the Middle East culture taught me a lot how to be more feminine because of their culture, and I started to change with the years. And even now, I like to do those things. And when I have a kid, I'm not complaining. And when I talked to my mom on the phone, I made this dish and this dish, and probably for her it was unexpected that she's like, oh, you don't have anything else to do in your life than cooking. But now she accepted. She's like, oh, when you come here, please do something.
Oh, that's beautiful. Now let's go over some of the fundamentals also. That for a man, a respect is the foundation of the love and harmony. If a person doesn't respect a woman's nature, he will never be happy in a family life. A man, if he doesn't respect that a woman is born to be happy, loving, stay home if she wants to, doesn't have to stress and go to work, and accepting that she's born for happiness and harmony and compassion, peace and love, he will never be happy. Never. If a person doesn't respect a man's nature, she will never be happy. That a man is born to conquer, for a victory, for decision making, for rationale, for wisdom. If a man doesn't respect a man's nature, he will never achieve anything. In other words, he will be a loser because he doesn't respect that a man is born for success, achieving things, conquering things, becoming strong and successful and responsible. If he's not going to respect that, that's his nature, he will never achieve anything. If a woman doesn't respect man's nature, she will be single and alone. Oh, I lost the notes. If a woman doesn't accept a feminine, her nature, that she is born for compassion, beauty, love, harmony, peace, she will never be beautiful. And she will be ashamed because she will feel that no one needs her. Because when a woman doesn't really accept her nature, that she's born for beauty, love, and harmony and happiness, she's compensating by going to work. She's trying to prove that she's good enough, strong enough, because she's insecure inside. And by the way, those women are even more sensitive inside. The roughness is just the outside. Inside, they're even more sensitive. And so men will think, well, because she's so tough, I gotta be tough with her. No, you gotta be even 100 times more softer to her. Because she's that fragile, that sensitive. Because her feminine foundation is broken. And for men, it's so hard to comprehend. She's making 6 figures. She's driving Mercedes Benz. She has a $500,000 home. She lives in the best neighborhood. Her kids are going to private school. She's so successful. Let me be tough with her. Maria, let's go to lunch together. And Maria gets broken. It's like, oh, no.
I have this toughness in my life already, right?
Yeah, exactly. Why would I need what she needs that? And that's why she would also be attracted to feminine men.
Yeah, we'll play with her.
Because otherwise it goes head to head.
Mm-hmm.
But again, masculine woman with feminine men will never be together. After a while, a man gonna achieve his manhood, and then he will leave her. And she will lose sexual desire for him because she'll look at him, oh, you're stupid, you're not smart enough, you're just like a boy toy. And he would look at her, oh, mama is again telling me to cook or clean or do something. And so that relationship doesn't have any foundation. And if a man doesn't respect a woman's nature, he will be a single dog. He will never be with a woman. Even if he's rich, even if he's successful, not a single woman will be able to stand him because he wants to be rough with her. Because he doesn't understand her nature. And her nature, again, being soft, gentle, kind. She wants a man to treat her like this. Honey, do you want to go for breakfast? Oh, please wake up. You look so wonderful. Do you want to go to a movie? Every woman wants this kind of approach deep in her soul. Isn't that true, ladies, or you disagree with me?
100% true.
Can you raise your hands so men can see here that you agree that woman wants to be treated with kindness and gentleness? Thank you. Yeah, because 1,350 people, followers on my YouTube, are men. So it's going to be good for them to hear that. Yes. So again, that's why in order to figure out why we need a family, We need to learn and understand who is God and what is he doing. And again, we have to understand that 1% in our soul is God's nature, and that's how we fall in love with the person. And if we don't see in our husband, in our partner, God's nature, that relationship is doomed. If you see him for just a nature, a human nature, which is he's stubborn, greedy, has a temper, slow, whatever, that person and you will not succeed, because how you view him, that's who the man becomes. Because I want you to realize and look at it this way: a man is like a big train, big metal train, but we women are the fuel. Man will not move. So he is living in his apartment or house unless he gets, oh, she's so pretty. He's not gonna get out of his comfort zone. Once he starts to chase, the train starts to move because he's attracted to you. He needs that feminine energy, the feminine beauty that we have. But once you say, if you're married, but look at neighbor John, he's taking the family to Australia. He's taking the family to Disney World every day, every Christmas. They're driving Mercedes and he's buying his wife Maserati. And what about you? You're just laying down here on the sofa. That's it. You killed the man. Even if the train was moving, it's now stopped. It's not gonna move. Because for a man, again, we women are the fuel. Either we're fueling him, I trust in you. I am proud of you. Even if he is your son, by the way, he's older than you because he's a man. And even if he did something wrong and you say, I believe that you didn't mean to do that. I believe that you are not a liar. I believe that you are not a thief. I believe you don't hurt kids for this reason. And if you say that in him, you're putting the seed that you proud of him, that you trust him, that he is going to be a good man that you going to be proud of already right now. And this son and this man have no possibility to fail that. He going to start again. The train start to slowly move. But once it moves, try to stop it. You got to say something so nasty, comparing him to someone or something like that, in order to stop the train. Any questions? I know we have 5 minutes and I'm thinking, do I go over more things or do we get questions and more sharing? How do you feel? Say.
More things.
More things, okay. Yeah, okay.
I have a question
Yeah.
regarding the previous part.
Uh-huh.
So you were telling about a person who lived in like 50% in soul, like 30% in mind, and 20% body. When it's wrong, like soul is not like 50% or less, is this part becomes like remains empty, or it feels like there's something else? And how is that a way to switch from the brain part or from body part to the soul part? Do you have to listen to lectures? What man can do with this, or how do you switch it to right?
Very good question. By the way, the society right now ignoring soul altogether, so the soul is empty. And that's why people believe in people when they meet somebody. They're like, okay, you give me love, you give me happiness. They're empty, you're empty. How can they change? Nothing is working. And so person is shifting to mind with all of these thoughts and fears, or exercises. But the 50% is still empty. And so we as a women, by the way, responsible for the spirituality at home, because men's number one priority is to provide, protect, succeed, conquer, and do victory. That's their responsibility. Our responsibility is happiness and love. But how can we give happiness and love if we're empty in the soul? So woman can fill herself up by 3 ways. The simplest way is by women getting together. But now the problem, if you get together with masculine women, what do? Talk about stress and anxiety and complain about husbands. That's why these meetings are so important. There's no room for complaining about husbands or life. Number 2 is nature. When you walk in the nature, run in the nature, the moment you move in the nature, you start to fill yourself up, your soul as well. Because when you're walking in the sunrise, it's a connection of God. You're connecting to happiness and confidence. For people who have dealing with depression, that's the best time to walk or run in the morning. If you're dealing with anxiety, high stress, anger, the best time to do walking in the evening. Moon energy is a feminine energy. And so woman is walking, not just sitting outside or on the beach laying down, walking, running or walking. Because the movement and no podcast or music, no, silence. Trees are moving, listening to leaves, creek. And when you're connecting to that, anxiety and stress start to go down. And the third, the most powerful way, is doing affirmation, meditation, or prayer in the morning while the sun goes up before 8 a.m. or between 7 p.m. to 9:30 p.m. 10 o'clock is time to sleep. But most people are in front of TV. And what do we get on TV? Poof, paf, boof, boof, boof. Drama, 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 fear, anxiety, stress. Nothing good. I'm so glad that we're covering this black box right now. Cannot stand it. So, good question, Kate. So these are the 3 ways a woman can fill herself up. But again, a woman started to walk, a woman started to meditate. If she's not listening to the lectures, also the 4th way I wanted to add, on a daily basis or weekly basis, her inspiration will go down. A man and another man can call each other, let's go for a walk, let's go for a walk, let's go for a run, and they go. For a man to do askeza, to wake up in the morning and to put cold water over him or go to the gym is easy. For us women, it's very hard. We get inspired by women, by nature and lecture. But nature, if you're doing it in the nature, you start to feel relaxed and calm. But if you're not listening to the sound, you're not getting education. That's why the sound has the power to heal. Right now, I'm putting the seed in your mind, you're going to live with a slightly different consciousness. But you will be inspired for 4 or 5 days. At least that. But then if you have a partner and if you do it on a regular basis, that's why I'm like, let's go to art class, let's go to hiking together. As the spring gonna come, we're gonna do more activities. And for a woman, a man needs a woman because only women give love. Men cannot give love. Only women and kids. And that's why if a man cannot accept a woman's nature, he will never be happy. He will be single and miserable and have a mediocrity life. But a woman, to give love to him, she needs to be full. But the fullness you can get only from above. And so how it works, a woman does meditation affirmation, she gets full, and she spills out her happiness to her husband and kids. And when she has more, she can do lectures, she can do classes, she can do more because she is full. Because right now, I'm not giving you just theory here. I'm giving you piece of me because I already conquered that. Otherwise, if I'll be giving you theories are cheap. You can read that. Do you get that? Yeah. So, with that said, ladies, interesting. We don't have any men today. It was so feminine. It was so soft, gentle, kind. I want to thank you for your donation to Baby Pablo, for bringing your authenticity, generosity, kindness, compassion, softness, curiosity, desire to learn and grow. I feel really, truly blessed for having you in my life, for you being here, because a teacher with the knowledge feels so empty and hungry if it doesn't have anybody to give the knowledge to. So I need you so much. You have no idea. And so I'm so grateful for having you in my life.
Thank you.
Thank you. Oh, on that note, any other questions?
I think maybe telling people to put I will donate
Yes.
on the YouTube.
Yes, ladies, if you can go on the YouTube on my channel, please subscribe, watch my videos if you can. But most importantly, right now on the YouTube live, because you've donated to baby Pablo, can you go and say I've donated? Can you do that? And my channel is Alisa Abdullaeva, or Hypnosis to Change. I'm going to write it down. And I want to thank everybody on the YouTube channel for being with us. I acknowledge you. Thank you for following. Thank you for listening. Thank you for being. I appreciate you. And I'm just going to change right now. I'm going to read the questions to see if anybody have questions on YouTube so I can answer. And I'll give you right now. Ladies, my channel name, Alisa Abdullaeva. I know it's a complicated last name.
Is it harmony?
Yes, harmony. And let me just read. Oh, we have from Netherlands, Zeta. I could please respect her person and give her Mike Hearty. Oh yeah, so we should have given you Mike, Maria. People could not hear your questions. Oh, thank you, La Corazon, who made the donation. I appreciate that. Oh, somebody also said, I personally know baby Pablo family. Thank you. Thank you for donating. Alisa, is it possible to convert a woman to be more feminine? That's the question. A woman can be more feminine if she's learning spiritual knowledge, if she has a desire. You cannot, like I said, you can bring a bull to the river, but you cannot make a bull drink from the river. So she needs to have a desire to do that. Oh, Michael was also on the lecture. Michael, thank you for being on the YouTube. It's great to have you there. Awesome. Maria, thank you. Carolyn, Kate. Awesome. So I saw people were coming and going, but this is great. I am so grateful. So with that said, at 1:02, we can stay and have appetizers, have more tea and coffee. And again, thank you everyone on the YouTube live on the other side for being with us. Have a blessed day, and I'll see you soon. Namaste. Bye.